Imagine driving through the vast emptiness of the Western Sahara Desert, the sun beating down, nothing but sand and sky for miles. Suddenly, a dark cloud appears on the horizon. Not a sandstorm, but a living tempest. A colossal swarm of desert locusts. The air fills with the deafening roar of millions of wings, turning daylight into a chaotic blur of yellow and brown. Locusts slam into vehicles, splattering against windscreens, forcing drivers to slow as visibility drops to near zero. The road vanishes beneath a writhing carpet of insects, as if the desert itself is swallowing the highway. For those caught in the middle, it's a moment of pure shock, nature's power, overwhelming and unstoppable. Though locusts don't bite or sting, the psychological impact of being engulfed by such a force is profound. This was no random event, but a dramatic symptom of a much larger crisis unfolding across the region. The swarm was just one part of a greater outbreak, a biological phenomenon building for months. Each locust is small, but together they form a superorganism capable of reshaping landscapes and threatening millions. The sudden, terrifying appearance of this swarm was a warning shot, a signal that a dangerous event was underway. The world could no longer ignore the crisis erupting in the desert. To grasp the threat, consider the numbers. A single swarm can cover a square kilometer and contain up to 80 million locusts. That's a flying city, driven by a single urge to eat. But these swarms can stretch for hundreds, even thousands of square kilometers, multiplying their numbers into the billions. Constantly on the move, a swarm can travel up to 150 kilometers in a day, crossing borders with ease. The weight is staggering. 1 square kilometer of locusts weighs as much as 30 elephants. When they descend, their collective mass can break branches and flatten crops before they even start feeding. The sky darkens as they pass, casting a shadow of impending doom for farmers below. An individual locust is insignificant, but together they become a superorganism, moving, eating, and reproducing as one. This is what makes the desert locust one of the world's most devastating migratory pests. The sight of a swarm blotting out the sun is a terrifying spectacle, a warning of the devastation to come. The power of multiplication in nature is on full display. The true danger of a locust swarm lies in its insatiable appetite. A 1 square kilometer swarm can eat as much food in a day as 35,000 people. They strip fields of maize, wheat, and sorghum in hours, leaving only bare stalks. Locusts eat almost any vegetation: crops, fruits, vegetables, even pasture for livestock. When grazing lands are stripped, livestock starve, compounding the crisis. The economic impact is devastating: loss of crops, loss of livestock, and loss of income. Locusts also destroy trees and wild grasses, leading to soil erosion and environmental chaos. The loss of vegetation disrupts entire ecosystems, affecting countless species. For communities in their path, a swarm means the loss of a year's work in a single afternoon. It's not just an agricultural problem, it's a humanitarian crisis. Food security is threatened, economies destabilized, and families forced to abandon their homes. The psychological toll is immense, watching your livelihood vanish before your eyes. Locust swarms leave behind a silent, empty landscape. The FAO monitors locust activity worldwide, issuing early warnings to at-risk countries. In early 2026, their updates became urgent. A large-scale outbreak was imminent, threatening food security across vast regions. Unusually high rainfall created perfect breeding grounds, allowing multiple generations of locusts to multiply rapidly. Swarms travel fast, crossing borders and making control efforts difficult. The FAO's warning was a plea for preparedness and rapid response, targeting locusts early, before they can fly. International cooperation is essential. Without it, new swarms can quickly undermine local efforts. The window to contain the outbreak is closing fast. If the world fails to act, a full-blown plague could devastate millions. Desert locusts are carried by the wind, traveling vast distances over land and sea. Recent swarms formed in the Sahara have been blown north and east, even reaching the Atlantic Ocean. Locusts have crossed seas before, but each event is alarming, showing their resilience and the global nature of the threat. The Spanish Canary Islands, over 100 kilometers from Africa, have reported locust arrivals, carried by the same winds driving the outbreak. This highlights how interconnected our world is. A crisis in one region can quickly become a threat elsewhere. The target is always moving. Control operations in one area can be undone by new arrivals days later. Tracking swarms requires sophisticated forecasting, satellite monitoring, and constant vigilance. The journey of the swarm is a story of wind, weather, and relentless biological drive. Every piece of this puzzle is in motion, driven by forces beyond our control. The arrival of locusts on Lanzarote and Tenerife has put the Canary Islands on high alert. While numbers are low, the threat to agriculture and unique ecosystems is real. The islands grow crops like potatoes, tomatoes, and grapes, vital to their economy. A large swarm could devastate local farms in days. The island's unique plant species are especially vulnerable. A swarm could cause irreparable ecological damage. Authorities are monitoring the situation, preparing contingency plans, and inspecting incoming shipments. The fate of the islands depends on the wind. If it shifts, the threat may pass. If not, more locusts could arrive. Residents watch the skies, hoping the visitors are a temporary anomaly. Their peaceful island life has been interrupted by a distant crisis, delivered by the wind. The world is watching too. The desert locust's most dangerous trait is its explosive reproductive power. A single female can lay up to 150 eggs at a time, 3 times in her life. Eggs hatch in 2 weeks, producing wingless hoppers that band together and devour everything in their path. After 5 to 6 weeks, hoppers become adults, ready to fly and reproduce. The entire life cycle, from egg to egg-laying adult, can be completed in just 3 months. Each generation can multiply the population 20-fold. 1,000 locusts can become 20,000, then 400,000 in just 2 generations. Early intervention is critical. Small bands can be controlled, but billions of flying adults are nearly impossible to stop. Time is always against us. Every day of inaction makes the problem bigger. The power of multiplication turns a small outbreak into a continental crisis. Delay is disaster. Combating a locust plague is a race against time. The best chance is to target locusts during the hopper stage, when they're concentrated and flightless. Survey teams locate hopper bands in remote breeding areas, then launch control operations. Chemical pesticides are used carefully, often with ultra-low volumes spraying from the ground or air. Biopesticides, natural fungi that target locusts, offer a safer, eco-friendly alternative. Scientists are developing new tools: pheromones to disrupt mating, satellites to predict breeding zones. But vast remote breeding grounds and limited resources make control difficult. Funding and international cooperation are constant challenges. It's a complex battle, scientific, logistical, and political, that we cannot afford to lose. The Sahara locust swarm is a stark reminder of our vulnerability to nature's power. No single country can solve this crisis alone. It demands a united global response. The FAO's warnings are a call to arms. Support affected countries with funding, technology, and expertise. Swift, decisive action is essential: aircraft, pesticides, personnel, and investment in science and technology. The fight is for food security, for livelihoods, and for the future. Farmers and pastoralists in the swarm's path are among the world's most vulnerable. Supporting them is a moral imperative. We have the knowledge and capacity to meet this challenge, if we act together. The locust swarm tests our global will and cooperation. The outcome will shape the future for millions.